Hi. See, yesterday we have, in the previous class, we have learnt about there are 11 gases, most important gases, and how to identify the gases based on their color, based on their order, and based on their litmus test. See, based on the color, so we have seen that chlorine and nitrogen dioxide (NO2). So these two are the colored gases out of the 11 discovered. 11 mentioned gases in our previous classes. Okay, right. So out of the 11 gases, so both chlorine and NO2 are colored gas. So we have discussed yesterday about this one, and so based on that color, so we can separate these things, and all other gas are colorless gases. And next to color is order means smell. So based on the smell, again we have seen several gases will produce different smells. For example, ammonia strong biting smell, and it produces tears. And for example, sulfur dioxide, if you take, so it causes coughing and also suffocation. Even chlorine also causes suffocation. So the gases like HCl, NO2, HNO3 vapors, chlorine, so these gases are irritating smell. They cause irritating smell. Okay, and moreover this NO2 and HCl, they are strong smell, that means pungent smell. H2S, H2S is, it is a rotten egg smell. Okay, like this. So and hydrogen, oxygen, water vapor, and carbon dioxide, these gases does not possess any smell. So all these things we have seen in our previous uh, class. And next to that is litmus test. Based on the litmus test, again we can classify the gases into three types. What are these? Acidic gases, neutral gases, and basic gases. So out of the mentioned 11 mentioned gases, so ammonia gas is it is basic in nature, we learned. And oxygen, hydrogen, and water vapor, they are neutral towards litmus. Okay, and other gases like NO2, HCl, Cl2, SO2, H2O, H2S, HNO3, and all these gases, they are acidic in nature. So these things we learned yesterday. Now we will learn how to detect a gas. So for example, uh, I've taken some material, some substance, I've taken some compound in a test tube. Okay, taken some compound in a test tube, right? I've started heating this one. So this is the symbol for heating. Simply I am putting upward arrows below this test tube, so which indicates that, so the test tube is heated from the bottom. Okay, so now we will learn about the detection of several gases. So first of all, I am heating a substance. So when I heat this substance, what happens? A colorless gas is evolved from it. A colorless gas is evolved from it. So from this, it is understood this gas, it is not Cl2 or NO2. It may be other gases. Okay, except these two. So the other 9 gases, it may be any other gas from those 9 gases. Okay, next, and this gas, it is colorless. It is colorless. Next, odorless. So which gases are odorless gas? Which gases are odorless gas? That means except these two other gases, this gas may be not these two, either of these two. So it may be other gas. Other gas. So what other gas possess odorless? That means no smell. So the other gases which does not having smell are what? Oxygen, hydrogen, water vapor and carbon dioxide. Water vapor and carbon dioxide. So that means this gas may be either this one or this, or else, out of any one of these four gases the gas may be. Okay. Now next to that, litmus. Litmus, it is neutral towards litmus. That means the gas, see, when a blue litmus paper, see, actually this is gas. So when a wet blue litmus paper, wet blue litmus paper, wet blue litmus paper, when it is brought near this gas, what happens? So it is not changing the color of, it is not changing the color of that wet blue litmus paper. And now remove this paper and try with the wet red litmus paper. Wet red litmus paper. Even with red litmus paper also, the color of the litmus paper is not changed. That means, so now this gas is neutral gas. It is neutral towards litmus. Okay, so that means, so before that, at the beginning we have we came to a conclusion that that gas is neither chlorine nor NO2. So that gas may be of other 9 gases, and with the order finally we came to a conclusion that, so this gas may be either this one or this one or this one or that one. And with the litmus test, we came to know that this is a neutral gas. That means it is neutral towards litmus. So these three, so which gases are neutral towards litmus? Hydrogen, oxygen and water vapor, because carbon dioxide is acidic gas. Carbon dioxide is acidic gas. Carbon dioxide, CO2, when reacts with moisture, it converts into carbonic acid. It's an acid. Okay, it's an acidic gas. So as this gas is neutral towards litmus, that means it is unable to change the color of the either red litmus paper or blue litmus paper. So now this gas, as it is unable to change the color of the litmus paper, so this gas is having the character of neutral. That means it is neutral towards litmus. So which gases are neutral towards litmus? So either this or this or this. That means this gas may be either oxygen or hydrogen or water. Okay, right. Because carbon dioxide, we can eliminate that, because carbon dioxide is an acidic gas. It turns blue litmus to red. Okay, so if it is carbon dioxide, then it should have shown its effect on the blue litmus paper. But this gas is not showing any effect on the blue litmus paper. Hence, or else even on red litmus paper also it is not showing any effect. So that is why this gas is neutral gas. So which gas are the neutral gas out of all 11 gases? So what are the 11 gases? A list of 11 gases I am writing here. So where should I write? I'll write somewhere here. So here I'll write oxygen, hydrogen, water vapor, okay, carbon dioxide, okay, ammonia, H2S, SO2, NO2, Cl2, HNO3 vapors. HNO3 vapors. How many gases we covered? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One more is missing, HCl. HCl vapor. So these are the gases. So 11 gases which we learn the properties and their behavior, and these gas, how to identify these gases we will learn in practical, in the part of practical chemistry. So these are the 11 gases. So now out of 11 gases, finally we when a substance, when we don't know this substance, some unknown substance, it is heated. When it is heated, what is happened? So a gas is evolved from that. So this gas, it is a colorless, it is odorless, and it is neutral towards litmus. So finally this gas may be either oxygen or hydrogen and water vapor. So now we have to come to conclusion. So which gas exactly this one is? Is it either oxygen or hydrogen or water vapor. So for this we have to do one more thing. So first just lit a that one incense stick or else any wooden splint, that means any wood material. So actually look here. So first you lit this wood material and bring it and just you put the flame off. Now that wood material is glowing. Okay, now you bring this wooden splint, this color is wooden splint, so it is a wooden splint, now it is glowing because flame is removed. So as flame is removed, simply it is glowing now. Okay, simply it is glowing red. Now when this when this glowing wooden splint is brought near this the mouth of the test tube, so now this gas is coming out from the test tube. What happens here? This gas could able to relight the wooden. That means this wooden split it catches the flame again. So now the flame has come to this glowing wooden splint. Here relightening of glowing wooden splint has taken place. Okay, so now from this, which gas out of these three, which gas will support the combustion? See, look here, that means this wooden splint is undergoing combustion. So out of these three, so the gas should be combustible gas. Okay, see, actually hydrogen, it puts off the gas, it puts off the flame. Hydrogen will puts off the flame, that means it will remove the flame, and even water vapor also will puts off the flame. But only oxygen can relight the wooden splint. Relight means actually it was glowing before that. Now it has it caught fire, that means flame. That means that wooden splint is relighting. So now out of these these three gases, finally with this experiment, so we came to conclusion that the gas is able to relight the wooden splint, glowing wooden splint, is able to relight the glowing wooden splint. So therefore the gas is O2, because oxygen is supporter, it is supporter of combustion. The gas which is supporter of combustion is oxygen. Hence finally we can come to a conclusion that the evolved gas is oxygen gas. The evolved gas is oxygen gas. So now from this we can come to a conclusion that what is this material? From this, as this material is able to it is able to evolve oxygen gas. So generally, which materials will evolve oxygen gas? Oxygen gas can be prepared by heating O2. O2 can be prepared by heating what? By heating oxides of that means mercury oxide, lead dioxide, or else. So when these three substances are heated, it liberates oxygen, or else oxygen can be liberated from metal nitrates. When metal nitrates are heated, for example, take zinc nitrate. What happens upon heating? It produces zinc oxide plus NO2. zinc oxide plus NO2, or else lead plus oxygen. Along with this, oxygen is produced. Take lead nitrate. Even lead nitrate also, it produces lead oxide, lead monoxide, NO2 plus oxygen. See, I am not balancing here. Simply just I am writing what are the substances formed when these particular substances are heated. These are the nitrates. So when metal nitrates, that means zinc is a metal and lead is a metal. So metal nitrate. So when metal nitrates are heated, what happens? So oxygen gas is evolved. So like this. So that means oxygen can be prepared by heating either oxides of mercury, oxide, lead oxide, or else this is called as red lead, Pb3O4. Red lead, jaju antam Telugulo. Jaju, which is red in color or orange red color. Okay, so PbO2, mercuric oxide. So like this. Simply I am removing this one. Or else oxygen can also be prepared by heating oxidizing agents. Upon heating oxidizing agents, also we will get that means oxygen can be prepared. For example, the oxidizing agents mainly potassium chlorate, KClO3, or else potassium dichromate, K2Cr2O7, or else potassium permanganate, KMnO4. This is called as potassium permanganate. This is called as potassium dichromate. This is called as potassium chlorate. So all these things we learnt in our language of chemistry lesson. Hydrogen peroxide, H2O2 is called as hydrogen peroxide. Barium peroxide, BaO2. So barium peroxide. So these are some of the etc. So these are some of the oxidizing agents. When we heat these oxidizing agents also, we can produce hydrogen gas. That means this substance may be either any of these. Okay, right. So in this way, we can detect oxygen gas. In order to, oxygen gas actually it is a colorless, odorless. It is neutral towards litmus, and what happens? It is a supporter of combustion. That means it can relight the glowing wooden splint. So from these properties or else from these characteristics and from these observations, finally we came to a conclusion that the evolved gas is oxygen gas. So these are the properties of oxygen gas. Now let us learn about the another gas. Okay, I am rubbing off this, removing this one. See, I have taken a test tube. Listen carefully. See, I have taken a metal like a zinc, etc., and I put an acid into this one, dilute acid, dilute HCl or dilute H2SO4 I have taken. So, and I have kept an active metal into this active metal. So now these two substances are made to react. So what happened? Some gas is liberated. So I don't know what gas is this, but the gas is colorless. It is colorless. So from this, as it is colorless, I can come to a conclusion that this gas is neither chlorine. Okay, it is neither chlorine nor NO2, because the color of chlorine is greenish yellow and the color of NO2 is reddish brown color. So that means these two are colored gases, but here the evolved gas is colorless, and it is not either of these two. It is okay. That means it is other than. It is other gas than these two. Now I have observed the order. So it is odorless. So the gas, when it is tested, if you test the smell of the gas, it is not producing any smell. That means it is odorless gas. So which gases are odorless gases? So again, odorless gases are oxygen, hydrogen, water vapor, and CO2. So these are the odorless gases, and all other gases will have some characteristic smell. They have their own specific smell. Okay, but these gases does not have any smell. So from this, because this gas, as this gas is odorless, so finally we can come to a conclusion that this gas may be either oxygen or hydrogen or water vapor or else CO2. Now we'll go with the litmus test. Litmus test. With litmus test, it is showing that it is neutral gas. Neutral gas. That means it is not changing the color of either blue litmus paper or red litmus paper. Okay, as it is neutral gas, so finally, so this gas may be either oxygen or hydrogen or water vapor. It is not a carbon dioxide. Why? Because carbon dioxide already we learned that it is an acidic gas. It turns blue litmus paper red. So but here with litmus test, so the gas is not showing any color. It is not showing any change in the color of the litmus paper. That means it is neutral towards the litmus. So from this it is understood that the gas is neutral gas. So which gases out of this list are neutral gas? Only these three gases are neutral gases. Next, what is the next step? So from this we could not able to identify exactly what is this gas. Next, what will you do? Simply burning wood splint will bring. See, now we will bring what? A wood splint or else any incense stick, agarbatti. So what we will do? Simply we will bring an agarbatti which is burning now, or else any burning wood splint. So actually these are flame. When flame is brought near this gas, what happens? So this gas simply it puts off the flame. So when this flame is exposed to this gas, so the flame is put off by making so flame. So that means flame is put off, making, see here, making tuck or pop sound. So from this it is understood that when a flame is put off making tuck or pop sound, so the only gas which behaves like this is hydrogen. Only hydrogen gas will have this special character. No other gas will put off the flame with tuck or pop sound. So some other gases may put off the flame, but they do not make tuck or pop sound. So the only gas which makes tuck or pop sound is hydrogen gas. Okay. So from this it is understood the gas is hydrogen. The gas is hydrogen. And one more thing. So now the flame is put off. The flame is put off. It burns explosively in air with pop sound. Okay. See, actually this gas. Okay. This one more thing. Here this hydrogen has one peculiar property. What is that one? It simply puts off. That means it is non-supporter. Non-supporter of combustion. Non-supporter of combustion. And one more thing. So itself will undergo combustion. Itself will undergo combustion. Okay, that means here this hydrogen, it puts off the flame. Okay, with that heat, what happens? So this hydrogen gas will undergo combustion and produces blue flames. Blue fumes are produced. So these are the blue fumes. Blue fumes are produced. Itself will undergo combustion and produces not dark blue, so it produces pale blue fumes. So like this. So the only gas which show such behavior, that means with these three combination, so is hydrogen only. Hydrogen, no other gas will put off the flame, making top or pop sound. Okay, of course there are some other gases which are non-supporter of combustion, and even hydrogen itself will undergo combustion. So even with this is also a special property of hydrogen. So from this it is understood that the given gas is hydrogen. Okay, how hydrogen gas is generally prepared? Hydrogen gas is generally prepared when a metal is treated with dilute acids, or else hydrogen gas may be prepared from when active metals are made to react with water also. Okay, we learned all those things in our hydrogen lesson. So simply for time being, just this is a simple test. So from this it is understood that hydrogen gas is a colorless, odorless, litmus, it's a neutral gas, and it puts off the flame. The only gas which puts off the flame, making it top or pop sound, is hydrogen gas. So from this it is understood that the evolved gas is hydrogen gas. So in this way we can detect the gas. So these are to detect any gas, generally we go with these preliminary tests. So these are the basic tests, so from which we can eliminate certain gases, and finally we can come to conclusion that the given gas is which gas. Okay, now let us learn another thing. So in this way hydrogen can be detected. Next, I've taken a salt, hydrated salt. What salt? So I've taken a hydrated salt. This is hydrated salt. What is hydrated salt? The salt which contain water of crystallization. So such salts are said to be hydrated salts. For example, take copper sulfate, CuSO4 dot 5H2O. Okay, or else sodium carbonate, Na2 CO3 dot 10H2O. So washing soda. So take any such salts. So these are salts which are containing water of crystallization. Okay, such salts are said to be hydrated salts. So now I have taken a hydrated salt. Simply I have heated this. Simply when I heated this hydrated salt, what happens? See, the special behavior of hydrated salt is, so when hydrated salt is heated, it produces steamy fumes. Any hydrated gas, when it is heated, it produces steamy fumes. Okay, now just test the, if you observe this one, so these fumes are colorless. So from this it is understood that this gas is neither chlorine nor nor NO2. So that means it is other than Cl2 or NO2. It is understood that the gas is either other than Cl2 or NO2. Now we will go with the order. So it is odorless gas. So which gas are odorless? Already we learned that oxygen, hydrogen, water vapor and carbon dioxide. These are only the odorless gas out of this list. So all other gases are having some smell, right? So that means, So as this is colorless and odorless, finally we can say that this gas may be either this one or this one or this one or this one. So in order to go with further confirmation, further how to know which gas is exactly this one. So we'll bring glowing wooden splint towards this. We'll bring glowing wooden splint. Glowing. So which one? Glowing, not flame. Even if you bring any flame, that flame is it is put off, but not with a tap or pop sound. So if you bring a flame towards this one, so it is not putting off. That means the flame is not turned off by making. It is, of course, the flame is turned off, but it is not making tap or pop sound. So from this it is understood that this gas is not hydrogen gas. Okay, first bring a flame towards this gas. So that flame is put off, but not making tap or pop sound. So from this it is understood the gas is not hydrogen gas. It is not hydrogen. And bring a glowing splint, glowing wooden splint. That means already remove the flame and bring that glowing splint towards it. So what happens? So this glowing splint is not catching any flame. That means it is not oxygen gas. It is not hydrogen gas. It is not oxygen gas. So from this we can come to a conclusion that means here we have done two things. One is first we bought a flame towards this one, but that flame is put off, but it is put off but not making pop sound or tap sound. So hence that gas is not hydrogen. And when we bought a glowing wooden splint, okay, that glowing wooden splint, it is not able to relight. That this gas is not able to relight that glowing wooden splint. So relighting of glowing wooden splint is not taken place. Hence this gas is not oxygen. Okay, now and even this is not catching fire also. So it is not catching fire means it is not hydrogen. So one more thing. So that means these two are not present. Okay. Now just what will you do? Simply observe. So these gases, look here. When these gases, when they touch the walls of the test tube, so these gases they condense and form colorless droplets, colorless liquid they form. See these when these vapors, when they touch the cooler part, actually this portion is hot. So when these gases rise up and finally reaches to the cooler portion of the test tube, what happens? These vapors will condense on the test tube and forms a colorless liquid. Tiny drops of liquid are seen. Okay, they are condensed on the cooler parts of the test tube. So that means, when a gas it condenses to form a colorless liquid, so we may come to a just a preliminary conclusion that the liquid formed is water. So in order to know perfectly whether the so formed liquid is water or not, we can go for the further tests. What are the further tests? Simply just what will we do? We'll use anhydrous copper sulfate. Anhydrous copper sulfate. See, suppose this is the drop. This is the drop. So when I bought a crystal of anhydrous copper sulfate, so actually this is a drop liquid, and this is what a crystal of anhydrous copper sulfate. What is the formula of anhydrous copper sulfate? It is CuS4. So when I bought this substance and touch to this liquid, what is this one? Liquid. So this is the liquid formed on the wall of the container. one of the container. So now when went to this liquid, if I simply touch the anhydrous copper sulfate, suppose if the color of the anhydrous copper sulfate is turned to blue, if it is turned to blue, what happens? Why it is turning blue? Because this copper sulfate, anhydrous copper sulfate, will absorb moisture, will absorb moisture from will take this liquid moisture into it, and finally they convert into CeSO4.5H2O. So this is blue in color, blue vitriol we call. This is called as blue vitriol. So I mean, whenever anhydrous copper sulfate is it is made to come in contact with this liquid, suppose if it turns to blue color, then that particular liquid is nothing but what? So water. Only water can change. Only water can turn anhydrous copper sulfate to blue. No other liquid can turn anhydrous copper sulfate to blue, because CuSO4 anhydrous copper sulfate will absorb moisture into it and finally convert into water, hydrated crystal. So this is one test, and another test we can do. That means in the similar fashion, we may bring anhydrous cobalt chloride. Actually, the color of this one is blue. Anhydrous cobalt chloride. When it is brought towards the liquid, this is a liquid. When anhydrous cobalt chloride is brought, when it is made to touch with the liquid, what happens? The color of the anhydrous cobalt chloride will turn to pink. So the only liquid which can turn the color of anhydrous cobalt chloride to pink is water. No other liquid will turn the color of anhydrous cobalt chloride from blue to pink. Only water can turn the blue colored anhydrous cobalt chloride to pink. So from this it is understood that the given liquid, the so formed liquid is what? Water. And from this it is understood that these vapors, this gas is nothing but water vapor. So in this way we can identify, or else we can detect a water vapor. See, actually cobalt chloride, COCl2, cobalt chloride, COCl2, which is blue in color, so when it comes into contact with moisture, what happens? It turns into pink color, COCl2 dot 6H2O. So it is pink in color. Because this anhydrous cobalt chloride will absorb the moisture and converted into hydrated cobalt chloride. This is anhydrous cobalt chloride and this is hydrated cobalt chloride. The color of hydrated cobalt chloride is pink. Okay, when anhydrous cobalt chloride is brought in contact with the moisture or else water, so simply it absorbs moisture into it and finally converted the blue color is changed to pink upon absorbing, and this is the formula of this pink cobalt chloride, hydrated cobalt chloride. So like this we can easily, these are the tests to know the given gas as water or else water vapor. Actually cobalt chloride is its origin, the salt will be in its original form is this one. See, if you heat this cobalt chloride, what happens? It loses this water and convert into anhydrous cobalt chloride. Okay, so this is the original form of this salt. If this salt loses water, it becomes this one, anhydrous cobalt chloride, and finally when it comes into contact with moisture, it will regain its color from blue color to pink. So what is the original color of cobalt chloride? It is nothing but pink. and even the original color of copper sulfate is blue only. Okay, actually this is white. This is white. Anhydrous copper sulfate is white in color. It is white in color. It is white in color. So, but the copper sulfate's original color is blue only. Then how it is formed? When copper sulfate, this one, when this one is heated, blue vitriol or copper sulfate, hydrated copper sulfate, when it is heated, it loses its water and finally converted into anhydrous substance. So generally, anhydrous substances are formed from their hydrated salts upon heating the hydrated salts. Okay, right. Now, see, look here. This gas or this water vapor, they can be obtained from several ways. See, hydrated salts when heated will get water vapor, or else when metal hydroxides, when metal hydroxides, when they are heated, when metal hydroxide heated, they liberate water by forming metal oxides and water. Okay, but here there is an exception. Sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide cannot form water. They do not form water. These are the exceptions. So except sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide, other metal hydroxides when are heated, so when they are heated, what happens? They liberate this water vapor. So when not only hydrated salt, when hydrated salt is heated, it produces water vapor. The water vapor can also be produced when metal hydroxides are also heated. And one more thing, so of course water can be avoided by several methods. So I mean, in practical chemistry, generally we use hydrated salts, or else metal hydroxides, or else metal carbonates or metal sulfides. Metal bicarbonates. Metal bicarbonate means HCO3. So HCO3. For example, take calcium bicarbonate. So this is the formula of calcium bicarbonate. When calcium bicarbonate it is heated, what does it form? It forms calcium oxide. Okay, next water, and also carbon dioxide gas is liberated. So here also water is formed. That means when metal bicarbonates on heating, so this is a symbol for heating. And even metal hydroxides also on heating they produce water. Even hydrated salts when heated also they produce water. And even metal hydrogen sulfide. So this is hydrogen sulfide. So metal hydrogen sulfide. So take calcium bisulfite. So hydrogen sulfide, so this is called as bicarbonate. This is called as bisulfite. It is also called as hydrogen carbonate. It is also called as hydrogen sulfite. So what happens? So this is a formula of hydrogen sulfide. Upon heating, what happens? It produces calcium oxide plus H2O plus SO2 gas. Here SO2 is released. SO2 gas is released. If it is bicarbonate, carbon dioxide gas is released. If it is bisulfite, SO2 gas is released. So in this way, so water is formed and it will be liberated in the form of gas vapor. Okay. So this is the best example. So instead of taking all this, so if we take a hydrated salt and heat it, then we can easily test the gases as water by performing these tests. So that means the substances which help us to know that the given condensed gas is water. What are the substances? So one substance is anhydrous copper sulfate. So we can use this substance to test water, and even anhydrous cobalt chloride is another substance to test whether the given liquid is water or not. So these two substances are generally used in the practical chemistry to test the water. Okay, right. So now we will stop with this. We will learn the other gases tomorrow in the next class.